Morning again, everyone. 2nd of December, Friday. The weekend coming up, and there'll be another Q&A session. Hopefully, I'll stick up online today if you've got any questions on what's going on. And interesting little low pressure system here forming right over the top of Ian and Elliot. And most of would have received the news now that Arnaud is bound for St Helena. So he's still in the GGR at the moment, but once he arrives in St Helena, that will be his official retirement from the GGR. So we'll still be tracking him all the way up there and find out what he's up to. He will ring today on his scheduled call, so we'll get a bit more of an explanation about his rig problems and barnacles and bits and pieces. So anyway, we'll look at the back end of the fleet. The other interesting thing, of course, is that Suhaili is now catching up to and about to pass Ian and Elliot back here at the tail end of the fleet, with Guy making his way to Cape Town as well. So this morning, 4.8 knots for Arnaud, which is a good speed, wind on the starboard quarter, making his way to St Helena. He'll be happy with that. And Guy, the positions have just ticked over just then as we speak, now making 3.5 knots. So that wind at the back end is actually dying off, of course, and he's slowing down accordingly. He's still got, let's just check this out, he's still got, as of right now, 700 miles to go. I'd suggest he's making no more than 100 miles a day, so he'll be in towards the end of next week into Cape Town, slip the boat, and then he'll decide what he's doing from there. But at this stage, I believe it's his intention to slip, clean the bottom, and then bolt again, take off as quick as he can and make for Hobart. But let's wait and see what he thinks when he gets there. Then this little depression here, I'll just get rid of that. Intensified yesterday. We spoke about it yesterday morning, but it looked late yesterday as if it was getting a bit stronger. We've sent a weather alert to Ian and Elliot because I'll show you basically what's happening. It slowed down again a bit this morning. It hasn't moved over them as quick as I thought. So this is the weather they're sort of getting at the moment. They're just out of the some of the key areas of this. It's sort of a funny system because this is sort of a bit of a centre here. Of whatever's happening, but there's a distinct low wind area in the middle here, which is sort of suggesting that it's the centre as well. So it's all a bit confusing, and remembering that there's not a lot of weather reporting data down here as well, so the computer models might not be actually what they're experiencing right now. So Elliot's making 3.7 knots and Ian making 5.3 knots. The conditions for Ian are going to be a lot more mild, but Elliot's in some of it at the moment. And then I'll let you look at Guy and Arnaud back there, but we'll just focus for now on what's happening here. I'm clicking this forward every hour, and you'll see Elliot and Ian will both be moving forward a little bit, but it starts to intensify rapidly. That's in the next 4 hours. And Elliot's on the back edge of it, southerly winds there coming through, and Ian's about to get hooked up right in the middle of it, where the wind's going to change directions very quickly, and that'll make for a confusing sea. I'm not sure about the currents there yet, but we'll have a look in a minute. And that's suggesting sort of 35 knot forecast, which is gusting 45, even up to 50 for Ian, but it's moving really fast. This is a couple of hours later, and then it's all over and it settles back and drops off just as quick. But sometimes those quick systems can create, even though the sea might not be, I'm just going back again, might not be super huge, it can create a confusing sea. And I'll just drop over to this. This is the windy system. This has got the same relative position to about where Ian is at the moment. This forecasting here is probably a little bit more accurate. You'll see it's a little bit different. And if I just build that up a bit, that's 10 o'clock this morning. You can see lots of holes and bits and pieces. Elliot is around about here. So as I say, this is a little bit more accurate. And if we scale that forward, you'll see here, this is 11 o'clock this morning. I'm clicking it through 3 o'clock this afternoon. And Ian's going to be there. This is forecast wind strength you're seeing there, 23 knots, and it's 35 knots as soon as it hits there, so it's going to come in with a bang. And 32 knots, 28 knots. So it's only for a few hours, it's extreme. But if I just kick that back again now, and you can actually forecast wind gusts here. If I come over the side here and put in wind gusts, you can see 22 knots there. This is at 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's slowed down. The weather alert we gave Ian was that it was all happening, sort of, mid-morning, but it's actually later. So it's gusting up over 50 knots or around 50 knots, 46 knots. So every time we talk about forecast winds, you have to allow 1/3 extra onto that to give you your gusts per se. So there's certainly some confusion there on what's happening, and let's just have a look at their relative position to currents, because that gets interesting. Okay, they've all got, both Elliott and Ian, if they're interacting with this, they've got a current which is generally going with them, and the strong winds are from the south or the southwest and westerly. So wind with the current, it's good for the seas. Wind against the current, it can get very tricky. So an interesting one to watch there. Anyway, that's not too bad, but we'll might as well just pull it forward a day, and you'll see it goes over them very quickly, and they're back into normal sailing with a south-southwesterly wind. That's tomorrow, and then the day after, it's starting to go light and consistent all over. Same for Guy, same for our Nord. So the next couple of days after this low goes through Ian and Elliott, it'll settle down for them, but they won't be going fast, and Suhaili may actually overtake them. So that's their benchmark to get through the gate, if we remember that. So back to real-time weather here. Looking at the rest of the fleet here. Can we get to Simon? No, we can't. Nope, we'll forget about Simon for the moment. Just look at Jeremy in this breeze, doing quite well, 7 knots, as you'd expect, because there's forecast 25, 28 knots there, so it's gusting 35. He's romping along. And Captain Goog, same thing, 6.8 knots. He's loving that. He was hooked up in a bit of a current last night, I think, because he was really flying. I checked it then. We'll have a look in a minute. Abelish, 7.2 knots. He's happy. And Kirsten, 6.8 knots. So Abelish is going faster. Kirsten got possibly a little bit more breeze there, but not quite making the speed. And Simon, 6.1 knots. So it's all pretty good all the way along there. And we'll look at all of these together. I'll just pull it back so we can see what's going to happen to the weather as it progresses. So now, and again, this is actually pretty cool. This is sort of like I put the overlay in. Here's the 40s here. This is the roaring 40s. They're actually getting a bit of the roaring 40s here. This is exactly what we want to see. It's picture perfect. So that's good at the moment. I'll just toggle this forward every hour. So it's all pretty much staying the same. Jeremy's got some solid winds there. Captain Goog's plenty of breeze. Abelish is on the edge for the lighter stuff, but still solid breezes. So they're all 5 of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boats are going to be making good time for today. They've all got breeze. Jeremy's still okay back there. There's a little area of no wind, but I think he's just going to miss that. Abelish and Kirsten, they're getting plenty there. That's sort of 30, gusting 40s. Seas will be building. Let's have a look at the sea while we're there. Yeah, they're right on the edge of it here. Jeremy's up around 3s and 4s. Captain Goog, 3s. Abelish 3s again, building to 4. Kirsten's in 4. And Simon 3s to 4s. So that's okay. Currents, let's just have a bit of a quick look here. No, it's okay. That was the area where Captain Goog got hooked up. Everyone else is pretty much free on there. So we'll just go back to the wind and keep progressing that. So this is midnight tonight. So they've all had a pretty good day of sailing. Not ticking forward anymore. Oh, that jumped heaps, sorry. Okay, right. So now this is tomorrow, early hours of tomorrow morning. And this is coming up to 24 hours later. So 24 hours from now, Kirsten's in some very strong winds there. Probably gusting 40s and more. I'll have a look at that and see what's going on. This is the system that was on Elliott and Ian. And it's starting to impact Jeremy, but it's chasing him down, but he'll be moving ahead of this. So this is the 3rd tomorrow. So tomorrow, up around midnight, he'll be getting in this. I'll have a look at this and see what the strengths are later on, but it looks reasonable. That's a building northwesterly, and it's going to swing to the south. So this is still midnight tomorrow. Simon's okay with that as well. That went over him pretty quick, but we'll monitor that anyway. And the big one is it's starting to decrease. By the time Captain Good gets it, he'll be up around here somewhere. And then this is the big one. I don't know whether you noticed that then, but Simon's still sailing in a good breeze. Okay. And then this hole starts to develop, and Kirsten and Aberlis are going to start slowing down. So Simon's going to get a bit of a breakaway. This is morning on the 4th, so 2 days away. You'll see the gap widen with Simon and Kirsten and Aberlis for sure. The other one is that it's nice to be up the top when you see these things. This is a real big one, and that'll be 60s and 70s down there, gusting 70 probably. That's 60 gusting 70 or higher. So that's right where they're meant to be this time of the year, and I like seeing that. Okay, so there's no real surprises. We'll monitor the situation with Jeremy and Goog back here, but if it's forecast over 35 knots, in fact, let's just have a look here. So, I need to, you can probably switch off now. This might get a bit boring, but this is on, that's 30, so 35. He'll be up around 30 then, 30 and 40 and a bit. So we go to 30. He's going to be around about here. What's going on here? Why am I looking at that? Let's just angle this back a bit. That's on wind. Okay. Where are we? 40, 30. I need to work this out properly. I'll get back to you on that. But that's the one coming across there, and it diminishes pretty quickly. So you can see it's weakening off quite a lot here. It's weakening quite a lot, so it's probably going to be okay. Anyway, we'll look at that, and if we need to give them a weather alert, we will. So that's all about the story for today, and we will be back tomorrow. As I say, there's some question and answers. If you've got questions, that'll be up sometime today. Put them in the comments, and we'll see.